Hey, I hope you're doing well. I'm sort of. I've been recovering from a little prostate surgery that I had last week. It slowed me down. Didn't go as well as it should have, but here I am, and I got a couple things to talk about. Talked to a friend of mine just a few days ago. I've been coaching him. I'm kind of running this coaching platform and kind of done a private coaching deal with him and his church staff. And church about 500 pre-COVID, and they're in a semi-urban area, right on the fringes, where the urban area meets the suburbs, in a large midwestern city where people are a little bit conservative, and they're frustrated with the fact that they're going to have to build, and they don't really want to get into fundraising and all that. But they found out that they're going to have to. At least they were hoping coming out of COVID that people would be back. But why we were talking, what I was coaching them about was really how to adopt a culture of church multiplication. This is kind of stuff that's on my coaching platform. And so we went through the whole litany about how you take your time and you train people and you start a little group of your own and you train those guys and whatever. Well, the thing got out of hand. It's like the Spirit just breathed on it. And this is the kind of stuff I'm used to in the early days of my ministry during the revival that we called the Jesus movement, where on the bleeding edge of church, things are just not real predictable. And so what's happened is in just a few months' time, these guys have got like 55 microchurches. Some of them are microchurches within the radius, the circle of what they would call their congregation, the people who would tend to come back to the building on Sundays. Some of them are people who are going to be autonomous or at least semi-autonomous. The leader fits with the church congregation, the mother church or whatever, and the other people don't. So they're not going to show up. They'll show up with each other. And then, the real opportunity there is to keep multiplying at a pretty rapid rate if you can. So he's all excited. This thing is just exploding with growth. He tells me stories. He goes, this is fairly common where somebody comes to a microchurch, open-ended questions. You can be an atheist. You can be an agnostic. We want to hear whatever you think, but this is what we're talking about, this passage in the Bible. And the result is guys will come for 6 or 7 weeks and then boom, they've got their friends together who don't go to this microchurch. They've started a new microchurch. And here's the kicker, without asking permission. This is when you know that you're not so much in control as the Spirit is in control, which is the way things that really ought to be. And then he says, but I got one really fun story to tell you. And, as I'm talking to you, I need to ask you, could you handle this if this happened to you? You should be able to. You should rejoice in it. And some of you are going to sneer. And some of you are going to ask questions about, well, how do you ensure quality? How do you make sure there's not heresy? Well, you know what? If you're preaching heresy, you're going to have heresy in the microchurches. If you're preaching quality stuff, give me a break. Anyhow, here's the deal. A guy gets into a microchurch. He's there 6, 7 weeks, whatever. He's all excited. He gathers a bunch of his friends together. He starts a microchurch. And 4 weeks after starting a microchurch, he accepts Jesus Christ as his Lord and his Savior. So a not yet follower of Christ started a microchurch. How would you handle that?